The mother of an alleged victim took the stand today in the trial of a former Hamilton County teacher and recounted how her son told her about the claims of abuse. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kim Chapman-Whitfield.
And I'm Josh Rowe. Dwayne Sanders stands a trial on multiple counts of child sex abuse. The prosecution says the crimes happened while Sanders taught at Wallace A. Smith Elementary School in Ottawa.
The prosecution telling the jury today Sanders committed these crimes systematically and in secret. The defense countered, saying the jurors will see inconsistencies in testimonies as the trial goes on.
The state mentioned puzzle pieces. We're just asking for you to look for those missing pieces. Missing pieces, inconsistencies, it all adds up. It all tells a different story. You'll hear one story told one way one day, and then several days later, there's a different story.
Now, I anticipate throughout this trial, you may hear that the defendant was loved. He was well thought of. That is no secret. But that does not change what he did. What the evidence will show he repeatedly did.
Today, an investigator and Wallace A. Smith's principal also took the stand.
News Channel 9's Lily Butler sat in on the trial today. She joins us now live to tell us more about what happened there. Lily.
Kim, Josh, in the first day of this trial, we heard powerful words from a parent describing early accusations of former Hamilton County first grade teacher Dwayne Sanders inappropriately interacting with his students.
Not guilty, Your Honor.
After Dwayne Sanders entered his plea to charges he sexually abused young boys, prosecutor Stephanie Brown said evidence would show the first grade teacher normalized and sometimes rewarded sexual contact with young students.
Those sexual assaults that the defendant had been routinely and systematically committing in the secrecy of his classroom, when it was just him and those first grade students. Those sexual assaults that he had normalized for those 6- and 7-year-old little boys finally started to come to light.
Defense attorney Eliza Williams asked the jury to keep an open mind.
We are asking you to pay attention to the contradictory statements, the changing details, vague recollections, evasive answers.
As Hamilton County Detective Scott Terry took the stand, the jury saw pictures he took of Sanders' classroom during investigation.
Why don't you take a picture of just this chair? Because I believe that was the crime scene.
Wallace A. Smith principal Dr. Kelly Wise recounted the start of allegations against Sanders coming to light.
Contacted Detective Terry, I had contacted the sheriff's office, and I contacted DCS.
And she revealed she talked to Sanders about contact with students in the fall of 2022 after she saw something in his classroom doing a walk-by.
I had noticed that he had a student in his lap, and so I had a conversation with him about making sure that he didn't do that, more to protect himself and what, and making sure that we were being appropriate.
The most emotional testimony of the day when an alleged victim's mother took the stand.
He's loving, sweet, intelligent, creative. He loves art. He loves bugs and animals.
We are not identifying her to protect her son's identity. She held back tears as she recounted the moment he told her about the alleged contact when describing his underwear.
Mommy, I know about that hole. That's where Mr. Sanders touches my penis.
The mother says her son didn't reveal the allegations during his first forensic interview, so she made a video of him recounting his story.
And you said that you made a video.
Yes.
Why?
It came up again, and I didn't want to go back in that room. I didn't want him to be around him.
You didn't want to go back in what room?
Mr. Sanders' room.
Why?
I didn't want it to happen to him. I don't want him to have to go through that again.
The The video we saw shows the little boy demonstrating what he claims Sanders did to him and telling his parents he didn't talk about it in the forensic interview because he forgot. Reporting live in Hamilton County, Lily Butler, News Channel 9.
Lily, thank you. You can get caught up on our past coverage of the Sanders case by heading to our YouTube page, checking out our most recent video there on that account.
Another 2 mothers and 2 children on the witness stand today during day 3 of the trial for a former Hamilton County teacher. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kim Chapman-Whitfield.
And I'm Joshua. I want to warn you here, some people may find the content of this story difficult to watch. Dwayne Sanders faces more than a dozen charges after investigators say he made inappropriate contact with children. They say this happened during his time as a teacher at Wallace A. Smith Elementary School in Ooltewah.
Well, today Sanders sat and watched while some of his former students testified and listened while a mother described the way her child wanted to stop going to schools. Well, that mother also testifying about the time she took her son to speak with investigators.
News Channel 9's Lily Butler was back in the courtroom today. She joins us now live to lead us off. Lily.
Kim, Josh, emotional testimonies throughout the day as we heard from young children sharing details about where they say their former teacher touched them, and their mothers telling the jury about when they first found out and how it's impacted their family since.
Really hard. We're getting there. Like, we're starting to heal and damn near feel this for a little while, you know?
The mother of an alleged victim of former first-grade teacher Dwayne Sanders broke down in tears, sharing how she felt after her son told her about something he called the Good Boys Club. We aren't showing her to protect her child's identity.
There's some of us kids, us boys, and we like take turns sitting on Mr. Sanders' lap, and he'll like pull down my pants and like look at it and then pull on it and like mess with it and kind of like play with it.
One young witness who told the jury he was in Sanders' first-grade class at Wallace A. Smith said he was a little nervous to be speaking in the courtroom. Some jurors smiled at him as he talked about his hobbies and pets, but those smiles went away as Sanders' former student told jurors that Sanders, quote, touched his private spot at school and said, quote, he would be sitting on his chair and I would be sitting on him.
Fear, a lot of fear, but also like disbelief because you just never think it's going to happen to your kid.
While on the stand, prosecutors asked the child if he knew why he was in the courtroom. He responded, quote, yes, because my first-grade teacher broke the law. Wednesday, defense attorneys warned jurors to listen for inconsistencies in witnesses' stories.
We are asking you to pay attention to the contradictory statements, the changing details, vague recollections, evasive answers, leading questions from the interviewers that you may see.
Both of the alleged victims who testified Thursday referenced this chair and said that this is where they would sit on Sanders' lap. In forensic interviews showed to the jury, both boys said that other students were sitting on this carpet when they were sitting in Sanders' lap. But the videos also showed that both boys did not reveal the alleged abuse the first time they spoke to forensic investigators.
I felt sad. And I felt like I couldn't protect him from what happened.
Just in the last hour here of day 2 in this trial, jurors saw another video of a child's interview with investigators where he mentioned his after-school program, saying, quote, when I was there, Mr. Sanders touched my private parts. Reporting live in Hamilton County, Lily Butler, News Channel 9.
Lily, thank you. You can catch up on the Sanders trial by reading about it on our website or watching our coverage on News Channel 9's YouTube page.
The prosecution calling more parents and children to the stand today during the trial of a former Hamilton County school teacher. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kim Chapman-Whitfield.
And I'm Joshua. I want to warn you here, some people may find that what happened today hard to watch. Dwayne Sanders faces several charges for inappropriate contact with the students. Investigators say the interactions happened with the students while he taught at Wallace A. Smith Elementary School in Ooltewah.
More children on the witness stand and evidence involving children during the course of the investigation. investigation, and a mother who testified about how her son was changing while he was in Sanders' classroom.
Yes, around Christmas time, he started saying he didn't really want to go, kept pretending to be sick, and I thought he just wanted to stay home and play on the tablet because halfway through the day he would want to go to school. But yeah.
Now, up to this point, parents on the stand are asked to testify about what their child is like today, 2 years after this case began.
News Channel 9's Ja'Kai Spikes joins us now live. She continues our coverage of this trial. Ja'Kai.
Josh and Kim, in the last hour, we were able to hear a very emotional testimony from a mother of one of the alleged victims. She talked about just how her son drastically changed after Dwayne Sanders' alleged abuse. And she told the court today that she wishes that she would have caught the abuse earlier. That mother says she didn't know her son had been abused until he went in for a forensics interview. But she did reveal that she noticed her son's behavior changing throughout the school year while he was in Sanders' class. She said her son would come home and tell her that he was in pain, and also became emotional when she described some of the mental effects the situation had on her son.
He would have nightmares. Afraid of dying. Thinking that he was gonna die. He was going to hell and couldn't figure out why.
Now, the defense attorney did ask the mom, did you call the police? The mom said no, because she just called the hotline that the school had referred her to after Sanders' arrest. Now, earlier today, we were able to hear from more of the alleged victims. They were describing graphic details about how Sanders would perform sexual acts on them in the classroom while students were present. Now, with that being said, the defense attorney did warn the jurors earlier this week to make sure that you're watching out for any type of inconsistencies in the witnesses' stories. Now, for more about the Dwayne Sanders trial, make sure that you visit newschannel9.com. From Chattanooga, I'm Ja'Kai Spikes, News Channel 9.
Okay, Ja'Kai, thank you. There was some discussion today about whether court will continue tomorrow. The judge decided there will not be court on Saturday, and Sanders' trial is expected to resume on Monday.
State rested today during the trial of a former Hamilton County teacher.
I want to warn you here, some people may find what happened in court today disturbing. Dwayne Sanders is on trial for child sex crimes that authorities say he committed against some of his students while he was a teacher at Wallace A. Smith Elementary School. Today, more parents, a child, and experts from the Children's Advocacy Center took the stand.
Through testimony, those experts gave insight to the jury about how children are interviewed after an allegation of abuse is made.
Because there's a potential for trauma, potential for infection. So just to make sure, that the child is fully okay.
And does knowing that information help you provide the appropriate medical treatment?
Yes, it does.
The first witness called to the stand today by the defense, a high-level official within the Hamilton County School District.
News Channel 9's Lily Butler joins us now to share more about this after court ended early for the day. Lily.
Kim, Josh, defense attorneys began their case for the former teacher on trial accused of sexually assaulting his students, but not before jurors heard from another alleged victim and both of his parents. One of Dwayne Sanders' former first-grade students told the jury that Sanders touched him, both in regular school hours and in his after-school tutoring. When asked why he didn't tell anyone when the alleged abuse was happening, the child said it was because he didn't know teachers weren't allowed to do that. The young boy's mother testified about when she initially found out. She said when her son first told her about Sanders touching him at school, she asked if it was an accident.
Because I wanted it to be an accident. I wanted it to be that he just accidentally touched me.
It's been a big difference. We've had just the way that we feel as though we can kind of talk to him and address him on certain things. Just trying to be a little more careful with him and our daughter too, knowing things can happen, and we want to make sure that we kind of get told about them a little earlier than what we did.
Forensic interviews have revealed that several of the young boys did not disclose the inappropriate touching in their first meeting with investigators. Today, a lead forensic interviewer with the Children's Advocacy Center said in her experience, males may have a more difficult time opening up. Just before court ended today, Chief Talent Officer for Hamilton County Schools, Dr. Zach Brown, testified as the defense's first witness. He told jurors that Sanders was a substitute teacher for several years before becoming a teacher. Josh.
Lily, thank you. Court's expected to resume tomorrow afternoon after the defense said it needed more time to prepare its case for the jury.
The defense is ramping up its case to the jury today in the trial of a former Hamilton County school teacher.
I want to warn you here, some people may find this story disturbing. Dwayne Sanders faces several charges after investigators say he sexually abused some of his former students while he was a teacher at Wallace A. Smith Elementary. Today, court started at about 1 in the afternoon.
The defense called several witnesses to the stand. Some of them testified about knowing Sanders for years. One woman said the former teacher is like family to her children.
During opening statements, the prosecution said the jury would hear witnesses say nice things about Sanders. News Channel 9's Lily Butler was back in the courtroom today. She joins us now for a live update. Lily.
Kim, Josh, several people who said they were family friends of Dwayne Sanders acted as character witnesses for the former first grade teacher accused of sexually assaulting his students. As the defense called on longtime friends of Sanders, they told jurors why his character makes them not believe the allegations. Some of the friends testified that they would consider Sanders family and told them stories about how he's cared for them. Earlier in the trial, the state told the jury this would happen, warning jurors that testimony of Sanders' good qualities doesn't discount other evidence.
In terms of the father figure, if I could choose, I'd choose that every time.
Your children came home to you and they told you they'd been touched by someone and they answered all those questions that you wanted answered. Would you believe that?
I would believe it.
Expert in forensic psychiatry, Dr. Bradley Freeman, also took the stand, telling the jury that some of the questions in the alleged victim's interviews with investigators seemed like leading questions. But in the state's case, lead forensic interviewer with the Children's Advocacy Center said they follow protocol to avoid such questions. Reporting live in Hamilton County, Lily Butler, News Channel 9.
Okay, Lily, thank you. Court expected to resume tomorrow morning at 10.
Former Hamilton County first grade teacher Dwayne Sanders found guilty on one count of aggravated rape of a child, multiple counts of aggravated sexual assault, and multiple counts of continuous sexual abuse. That's after over 10 hours of deliberation and days of emotional testimony. Throughout the course of this trial, the jury has heard from 7 young alleged victims as they testified that their former teacher touched them.
They experienced every touch. They felt it. They saw it. He assaulted them.
And emotional testimonies from their parents.
What's going through your mind at that point?
Just confused, kind of shocked.
Though the defense told the jury to listen closely to the children's stories.
We are asking you to pay attention to the contradictory statements, the changing details, vague recollections, evasive answers.
Prosecutor Nicole Evans countered that, saying details like where the alleged abuse happened was consistent in the young boys' testimonies.
They told you it happened here. They told you it happened here.
As the state had 7 of Sanders' former students testify, the defense called 7 of Sanders' friends to the stand.
Did you ever have any concern about him being around your children?
No, one bit. And today I would leave my kids with him. I would trust him with my kids, 100%.
But prosecutors told the jury words from character witnesses doesn't discount the evidence.
None of their witnesses were there. None of their witnesses were in the classroom.
Families of the victims shed tears in the gallery as the verdict for each count was read aloud by the jury. Reporting in Hamilton County, Lily Butler, News Channel 9.